Alright guys, quick change of pace today. We're going to start the video off in the loft. It is way too cold and way too windy outside. I tried to shoot in a video, but my voice was being drowned out by the wind itself. So I'm just going to start the video off inside. Let's take a quick look. Easy, buddy. They're not so accustomed to the camera. Quick look at the first rounders. We did drop a couple. I'd probably say 2 or 3. I don't count anymore, guys. Honestly, it's not worth it in my opinion. If you have a small enough team and you want to keep a head count, that's fine. But when you're going to have 60, 70 youngsters, I'm not going to count them every night. And honestly, the more you count and the more you realize you lost 1 or 2, you'll lose sleep over it. It starts to mess with your head. So in my opinion, if you don't have heavy losses where you notice a huge gap in your birds, I don't bother counting. I know I started somewhere in the mid 30s and I still have, I think, 34 or 35 birds in here. So if I did lose any, it probably 1 or 2, maybe 3 birds at most. They've already had about 4 outings. Again, no hawk attacks. We've been real lucky with that. And for the most part, they've been able to kind of do a few quick laps around the loft, around the house. A few birds did take off for a little while and came back. No routing of any sort. I'm just simply saying they went further than I expected them to, and they were able to make it back. So again, going good on first round. Moving on to second round. We are working on trap training, and I've had very good luck with trap training. Day 1 was a little hectic. I had about 4 or 5 birds that wouldn't figure it out. But by today, I think this is the 3rd day, 4th day of trap training. I had 1 bird left outside waiting to be let in. They're again a little skittish of the bumpers, and I've contemplated changing the bumpers to maybe a drop style trap. But I like the bumpers a lot. I like the fact that I can close that lid there and not have to worry about removing that drop trap every day, things of that nature. I can come in here, or I can send the wife in here. She can easily close that trap, and it just works. So I'm just going to keep moving with what I've been working with. Even though it's a little bit of headache at first and they're a little skittish, once they get past that fear of the bumpers, they go right through like it's nothing. But this is a quick look at the second rounders. This is only about a third of what's going to be included in the total second round count. We still have quite a few babies on the nest and a few that will be sent to me here shortly. So we'll have probably another 20-25 birds in this section here for probably 2 to 3 weeks, just to give them enough time in the settling cage, and then we'll start to mix them. As some of the older birds get mixed, I'll start to move them out into the first section, into the hallway, and then I'll start to let them out little by little. In the years past, I've let them out all at once, and it gets a little chaotic when you go from, let's say, 30 birds to 70 birds out at once. So in the past couple years, what I've been doing is every week, every few days, I would move 2 or 3, maybe 4 birds from this section into the first section and let them out slowly that way. And eventually, within a week's time, maybe a week and a half, they're all mixed and they're all out. And I've had good luck with that. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But for the most part, guys, this video today is about breeding and the fact that I'm done with it. I am done breeding this year. We have a few youngsters in the nest. We have a couple birds that decide to... We have a couple birds that decide to lay outside of the nest, which I'm not going to have that. We're going to throw those eggs out. My dog Copper is going to love them. But for the most part, we have, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14 youngsters in here that I'll have to move over. And we are completely done. With the exception of Gingerbread Man and Boy Blue, I'm going to let them go on a 3rd round for a close friend of mine. Everybody else is, for the most part, done. I cut my breeding off early because I don't want youngsters after May 1st. And if you guys do a head count, or a time count, you will find that it takes 10 days to lay an egg, 18 days to hatch that egg, 25 days plus to wean that youngster. That puts me well into probably close to June now before I can wean a youngster off of this section into my racing. And I cut it off at May 1st, my cutoff. Any eggs that are in here now that are far along will stay. But for the most part, the only 2 eggs that are left in here are those 2, and I'm going to throw those out because those were laid just the other day. So I'm completely done, guys. Within the next week or so, I'm going to split the sexes, and I'm done for breeding this year. For me, late round youngsters don't work out. We start racing early. We start at the end of July. and the youngsters just aren't old enough. And I don't race the last 3, 4, 5 races of the season because of my work schedule and because the daylight is so late in the morning. I can no longer train. I can no longer be competitive. So I'm not going to waste my time and energy to take birds down the road or take the birds to the club and ship them when I know they don't stand the chance to compete because I was not able to give them what they needed, if that makes sense. So I usually stop probably middle of October is the last. I wouldn't even say middle of October, to be honest with you. I probably would cut it off middle of September is my last sort of race that I'm going to be competing in, with hopes of actually competing my birds. Anything after that is a waste of my time, honestly. So we are done, guys. For the most part, like I said, we are done breeding this year. 2 pairs will be allowed to go on a 3rd round, but everybody else will be split here within the next week or so. And that's pretty much it. What you see is what I got this year. I'm happy to get this over with. I'm happy to move on to worrying about my race team and less focus on my breeders, guys. Short video today. We're not going to go over any of the birds. Just simply saying that we are done breeding for the year. First rounders are doing well. They've had about, again, 4 outings so far. We've done very well with that. And then the second rounders are trapping beautifully. That's all I got for you guys today. We'll see you on the next one.